Wait.
All right, hey, this is Graig Meyer. I'm here with Jefferson Smith from the Oregon Bus Project and a candidate for the Oregon State House of Representatives. Is that right?
True story.
Okay. Tell us about the Bus Project and what you all are doing in Oregon.
Bus Project's a vehicle for hands-on democracy. It's a political organization that doesn't suck. We do three primary things. We do nonpartisan voter registration. We do political training for a program, not AmeriCorps, not Peace Corps, but Politicorps. And the reason we're called the Bus Project is we got a bus, we took it around to the closest legislative races we could, knocked on doors for progressive, forward-thinking legislative candidates to try to change the direction of Oregon's legislature, and did help change the direction of Oregon's legislature over the last couple cycles. And now we're resting on our laurels and really doing nothing. No, we're doing a bunch of stuff. It's good.
All right, your turn. You get to ask
Well, I have to ask you a question. All right, tell me about Traction.
All right, I've been talking about Traction in all these interviews. It's great. So Traction is a C3 and a C4 now. So the C3 is doing some civic education stuff. The C4, we're going to be following your model, targeting specific districts around North Carolina that we think we can help go for the good guys. We're doing something called How Low Can You Vote, where we're going to be traveling around having limbo contests with cash prizes and gas card prizes. Yep. And the whole idea is that every time the bar goes down, it goes down one more thing on the ballot. So, we know a lot of people will vote for president, but how low can you vote?
It's brilliant. I saw the How Low Can You Vote thing. I think it's brilliant. In our state, we had nearly 100,000 people who voted in the Democratic presidential primary who didn't vote in the more closely contested U.S. Senate primary, which was decided by only about 15,000 votes. So I think your How Low Can You Vote, making sure all these new people are getting involved in the process, pay attention not only what's happening on CNN, C-SPAN, Fox News, but also what's happening in local communities, what's happening, what they have to learn on the local blog or local newspaper. Critical.
So tell me this, you know what we're doing now, and you know what you've been able to do over a few more years than we've been in the business. Organizations like Traction and Bus Project, what are we capable of in the long run?
Revolution.
Violent or non-violent?
Non-violent. Well, it depends, I suppose. Non-violent. Well, if I'm feeling particularly audacious, I hope that we are capable of redesigning the mechanisms by which we govern ourselves. I hope we are capable of building power structures that are not merely designed to reward the private interest of the members of those organizations or the companies for which they work or the power interests that they represent, but instead power for the public interest. If you look at what voters want, they generally want politicians and leaders who care about a multiplicity of issues and do it with the common good in mind. But if you look at almost every political organization, it's in a lobby book, the people who file as registered lobbyists in Washington, D.C. or in a state capital, just about every lobbyist exists to advocate for either a particular narrow set of issues or to advocate for the financial interests of themselves and their members. And then we wonder why politicians don't seem to be the people we want them to be. Well, they're just responding to where the power is, as they have to, or as maybe they should, or as maybe they just regrettably do. And if we want to change the dynamic, we can't merely complain. We have to start building the kind of power structure that will reward public interest behavior that will require. I think over time, if we do that over and over again over the next 20 years, I think we can see a new progressive era in this country, and I will be satisfied with no less. I think our chances for success are under 50%. I give us maybe a quarter, but that's worth betting at least one life.
Your question.
What are the greatest challenges you have found in the state of North Carolina trying to build a publicly interested organization that's appealing to young people and having a political impact?
Well, it's not a problem to get young people involved because they want to be involved. They want to do it in the ways that they do. That part is easy, right? It's been easy to find money from outside the state of North Carolina. It's been more difficult to find money inside the state of North Carolina. It seems like people in North Carolina just don't have the vision. They don't see that this is going to be important in the long run and that this is going to be effective. So that's part of it. I think the other challenge for us is growth. We've been heavily focused on Durham and a little bit on the General Triangle area. We've got to get outside of that. We've got to become a statewide organization quickly. And it's like any other entrepreneurial challenge. How do you go from the seed of an idea to a large-scale organization as quickly as you want to? We're just trying to figure that out.
Yep.
Well, actually, what we need to do that is we need mentors. We need experienced people who have taken political or other types of organizations, activist organizations, nonprofit organizations, and build them from an idea into a strong, sustainable organization. We need some of them on our board to help us do this because our board is largely passionate but inexperienced.
No, it resonates. Our board was also young and inexperienced, and we've been working on adding some, a little bit of wisdom to our board, maybe some resources, and also gaining experiences ourselves. My only 10 seconds advice to have, be able to point to some real wins, right, and make believers out of people who are either confused or doubters. And if you can point to some real wins, people will start to fall in, I think.
That'd be good. All right, last question for you is about being a young candidate. So you've been active in the political process for quite a while, organizing, supporting other people. How did you decide to jump in, and once you did, was it any different than you thought it would be having been an outsider?
Yes, it was different. How I decided to do it? Well, a few reasons. I think we have a significant number of really talented people in our state house right now. Almost oddly so for a job that pays as little as this one does. And I think there is an opportunity to be a part of, only a small part, of maybe a significant portion of Oregon history. And that was appealing to me. And a chance to work with some people from whom I could learn. Second, representing a district that's the most economically challenged district in my state right now. And it's a district that needs a voice. It's a district that was represented by our House Speaker, who guys who are currently running for the U.S. Senate, and a district that was going to be getting a fall off in clout and probably in talent regardless, certainly to me, but it still seemed like a district that deserved passionate representation. And that was interesting to me. It's a district where my fiance grew up, and it's folks who need a voice and who need to be, who need to have a story for the challenge of their lives that's different than the government's keeping them down. Because frankly, that's not the problem most of them. And third reason for it, those are probably the two big ones. What did I find? It was different. Being a running political nonprofit, being an activist, you get to pick your spots. You get to figure out what you think are the highest priorities and talk about those things. Advocate the issue you care most about. You're not put in a position where you have to ask too many hard questions that you haven't thought about the answers to, because you're working on a handful of things. And you've thought about all the answers to the questions on those couple of things. So that was one big difference. The second big difference was, for some number of years, I had started working. I'd done a lot of things. I was getting invited to speak to a lot of places, and I'd go and I'd have neat introductions. And it was very much like being, a cool guy in middle school and moving up to high school and nobody knows who you are. And among a lot of politically engaged people in my state, I knew some people. It's people knew me and felt good. They pat you on the back and hey, give you a cookie. And when I went to run in District 47, a lot of people who aren't flocking to political meetings are like, who's this guy? And it was very much starting from scratch. It was a humbling experience. A lot of people talk about humbling experience, like somebody does something real nice to you, like gives you a lot of money. That's humbling experience. That's not humbling experience. Humbling experience when people tell you you're crap all the time, or a humbling experience where you're going around and trying to let people know who you are, and they have little interest, and you just keep on going after it. And so those probably I'll go for 2 and 2. Those are the two reasons, and those are the two differences.
You get the last question.
All right, I'll have it come full circle. What is your greatest hope for what you and you all accomplish in North Carolina over the next blank number of years?
North Carolina, for as long as I've been there, for 10 years, 11 years, has always been talking about seeing itself as a state that's moving forward, a progressive state, a state that isn't hamstrung by some of the things in the South, a state that develops new leadership and new ideas and can really be, a state